environment, unfortunately, where you see that, a lot of times you end up there because that's just the programming unless someone shakes you out of it. It can be changed, but
Yes.
it's something that needs self-awareness, and it's something that takes a look. I'm not perfect. I'm dealing with things that were programmed in me when I was those first 7 years. Oh man, it took me forever to break through, and I'm still trying to break through a lot of it. I'll tell you one example real quick. When I was in first grade, I was put in the slow reading group. They called it the slow reading group.
Jeez.
So in my mind, at that age, what I was told on a subconscious level is I was stupid. I wasn't a good reader. I couldn't do well in school. And I struggled with school throughout all the way to the end of high school. I barely graduated high school. I kind of like, I hustled. I cheated. I hustled. I did this. I did that. I hacked the system. And I went to a good high school, but I graduated. But then I realized that I was smart and I really loved learning because I always, did stuff, but I didn't read, but I learned visually. So then I went to college and I was like almost valedictorian of Full Sail when I went. And then I went back to regular college for fun, just to educate myself, taking philosophy and psychology and these kind of wonderful courses. And I was Dean's List. So I was like, oh, so that mentality, the guy who writes books, I don't know who that guy is. You know how long it took me if someone would have told me 5 years ago, oh, you're going to be an author, a published author, and you're going to write multiple books, I'd be like, get out of here. That's ridiculous. That was the mindset till I finally broke through and now I already got 3 other books in my head. It's kind of like when I made my first feature. Oh, I can go back. If I wanted to, I could make 10 movies a year at the way I do movies. I can. I've proven it. I could easily do it. I don't want to. It's not part of my path right now. Probably a couple of years before I make another movie. I got too many other things going on. But yeah, that's an answer to a really roundabout answer to the simple question of do my daughters do anything artistic? I'm trying to throw knowledge bombs in. I'm throwing as many knowledge bombs as I can.
Definitely. Well, I'm a grandfather.
Okay.
She's going to be 8 in November. She lives in New York, so I try to give her, when I see her, as much positive energy and attention and encouragement. I want to be a good example.
They learn more from example than they learn from anything else. That's what I've learned. They just learn from watching, man. Because they're at that age, they're absorbing everything around them. So you got to be careful how you say things, what you say things, because if you do the wrong thing, and you will do the wrong thing, we all will. I've screwed my girls up. I understand, but I was screwed up. You were screwed up. We're all screwed up. No one's perfect. No parent is perfect. Even if they think they're perfect, that's what the problem. They're too perfect. There's always something. So you just gotta deal with the cards you're dealt. And try to better yourself every day. Like I'm such a proponent of reading. I don't like reading books. I like listening to books. So I absorb 2 to 3 books a week, and I just absorb them all the time. I'm taking online courses. I'm a visual learner, auditory learner. So, I just flew by I had to read my book twice in a row, checking it for things before I sent it to the editor. And that's 55,000 words. My book's 55,000 words, so I was just like, I just flew through it. I just don't particularly enjoy reading. I know the stuff because I wrote it, but I enjoy listening to books because I'm a storyteller. So I like hearing the stories. I like listening to the concepts, and that sticks with me a lot more than reading on a piece of paper.
All right, we're rounding it up here. Do you think we all have an artist inside of us?
Yeah, I think every single person on this planet has that thing that they were put here to do. And I feel that an artist can express themselves as a street sweeper, a custodian, a fine artist, a sculptor, a filmmaker. It's a mother, a father. There's so many different ways that you can express yourself as an artist, but you need to find out what that thing is inside of you. Mm-hmm. And it's not hard to find, I feel. I was lucky enough I found it when I was young. But even then, it's changed. I wanted to be a filmmaker, and I am a filmmaker. But this part of my life, I didn't find this out till I was 40. 39, 40s when this showed up. Indie Film Hustle and what I'm doing here. I mean, I tasted it a little bit with Broken. It was a taste. But I didn't really understand that this was what I was kind of put here to do. Because I feel so much joy and happiness when I do it, it can't be wrong. So you need to find that thing for you. And if you can find it, then do it. And don't chase the money, because it's not about that. It took me years of pounding that stone and cooking that rice before I was able to make a living doing what I'm doing. You know, putting out 2 podcasts a week. I was lucky everything started up pretty quickly for me. But right now, I'm starting up Filmtrepreneur from scratch again. I started again. I'm like, oh man, I'm not getting the same traffic I'm getting on my other sites because it's brand new. And I got to now hustle again. And I have to remind myself, I'm like, pound the stone, cook the rice, carry the water, chop the wood. Just keep doing it. And slowly but surely, I'm starting to see the numbers grow daily. Every day, little bit by little, inch by inch, it's growing. And that's what you need. You really need to do that. Once you find that thing, just grind it, man. Grind it and don't chase the money. If you chase it for the money, and if it has to be a side hustle at the beginning, fine. Make it a side hustle. But do it. Do it, and then figure out how you can make a living doing it. But a lot of times, if you do what you love doing, and it's aligned with what your purpose is here on this earth, money generally kind of shows up in many ways. And I know that's something very flippant to say because I know there's so many starving artists out there, but there's a way, man. Yeah. You've got to just think about how to do it. You have to change the mindset. If you try to fight Goliath the way Goliath wanted to be fought, you would lose. You've got to think like David. You've got to take a stone and throw it between his eyes. If he would have fought him in the same way everybody else fought him, he would have lost. But because he thought outside the box, he knocked down Goliath. And that's how you have to be with your art. You've got to be able to go out and find a different way of making a living doing what you love doing. And in today's world, that's possible. 20 years ago, much harder. Today, Jesus, man.
Much.
I could give you 20 ways to make money online right now.
Nice.
Without any audience,
Wow.
and you could start doing it. And people, you're going to get rich? No. Will you make money? Yes. You mean if you got $200 extra a month, would you say no? Would you got $500 extra a month? Would you say no? If you got $1,000 extra a month that you didn't have to work for, would you say yeah? You do a lot of work up front, let that passive income come in.
Yeah.
And there's a way of doing it. But there's always work. But you know what I mean. Not specifically on that thing. So yes, Absolutely. I think there's an artist in every single one of us in one way, shape, or form. You just got to find that thing that makes you who you are and why you're here. And again, it could be as simple as, I'm here to sweep I'm here to clean the urinals. Mm. That's my purpose here. And I know guys who do that, they're happy because they're providing a service for people. It's all about perspective. It's all about perspective.
Really? Of course, where can people connect with you?
This is going to be a while. So I have main hub for everything is indiefilmhustle.com. You can go to filmtrepreneur.com for the new website. But if you want to get a quick hack for that, just type in filmmakingbusiness.com. It takes you straight to Filmtrepreneur. So it's a lot easier to remember, Filmmaking Business. If you want to get involved with Bulletproof Screenwriting, you go to bulletproofscreenwriting.tv, and that'll take you to the Bulletproof Screenwriting podcast and the thousands of pieces of content for Bulletproof Screenwriting. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to my main website, alexferrari.com, where I speak publicly. I do public speaking. I do consulting. I do coaching as well. If you want to sign up for my streaming service, you can go to indiefilmhustle.tv or ifhtv.com. And that's a Netflix-style service that is for filmmakers and screenwriters, and it's available on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iPhone, iPad, everywhere. It's available on all those platforms. And then I have my new book coming out, which is Rise of the Filmtrepreneur. How to make money, how how to turn your movie into a money-making business. And that book is in pre-order right now. It already hit #1 for best-selling pre-order on Amazon and in my space. And it will be out sometime in late October, early November. But you can go to filmbizbook.com, filmbizbook.com, and that takes you straight to the page so you can sign up for early access or to pre-order it already on Amazon. And of course, my existing book, Shooting for the Mob, how I almost made a $20 million movie for the mafia while going on a tour of Hollywood. And that became a bestseller on Amazon as well. And if you're a filmmaker or an artist, this is a book about how not to follow your dream and how not to sell your soul to the devil for the mere opportunity to make your dream come true. So it's raw. It's very exposed in this book. I show you my real soft underbelly, but I thought it needed to be as honest as it was. So that's and then you can go to shootingforthemob.com for that. And I'm sure I'm missing things, but I think that's enough. I think your audience.
Instagram, Twitter.
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Just look up Indie Film Hustle, and everything's at indiefilmhustle.com. All the links, everything's there.
Of course. And the final question: why does art matter?
Art matters because it helps us process the world that we live in. Without art, without story, we would cease to be a species. Without the power of story, specifically as an art form, the core values would never have been translated down or transferred down from generation to generation. It was the verbal word. Before books, before the internet, it was about story. And that story is an art. The more entertaining you made a story, the better it stuck. Peter and the Wolf, the Boy That Cried Wolf, all those stories from, the Bible on down. All of those stories, that's art. On one level, that's one art, and movies or art or music or paintings or architecture, these are art forms that help us process what we're dealing with in this world, help us process just living and process this existence. We are, this living is a strange thing, isn't it? Being alive, dealing with what we deal with. We're lucky enough to live in the United States of America. So we have so much here. But there's places in the world many places in the world that don't have nearly the kind of technology or opportunities that we have here in the United States, or in any Western country for that matter. And I feel sometimes that art is the thing that helps you process things you're feeling. I mean, the Greeks did it really well. Plato's, I forgot the book he wrote about story. God, Jesus, it's off the top of my tongue. I forgot that book, but he basically wrote the blueprint for story, and Socrates and the philosophers and all of that stuff, all the plays that they did and the Greek tragedies. And these are ways of just dealing with living. So I do feel that art is important purely because of that. And I'm always sad to see art programs go down, because it also helps us open up channels in our own heads, pathways that help us in math and science and all these other analytical things, that music does or filmmaking does or painting or writing or things like that do. So art is extremely important. And that's why I've dedicated my life to helping artists, honestly, help them survive, because without art, we don't live. We don't exist without art in our life. And as easy as something as fashion, that's an art form. It's an art. We're not wearing burlap sacks. There's an art form behind everything that we do, and people forget that. And I'll leave you on one note. I feel that everyone listening, I feel that it's your responsibility to find out what that thing is in your life. That thing that drives you, that thing that you're here to do, that art that you're supposed to put out if you're an artist. It's your responsibility to figure out how to get it to us, because we all need it. You were put here for a reason. And your art, you have no idea what